company. Ordinarily, two's company. But contrarily, we disagree, no matter what it happens to be.
You're the perverse one.
I agonize
Night and day with you.
to compromise.
There's no way with you.
I wish I had picked a large boa constrictor, my friend.
Are you trying to tell me something?
You're the perverse one, two's company.
Indisputably.
Two's company.
Irrefutably.
How we'd embark on old Noah's Ark, pair by pair.
Not so loud.
So ask me whose company.
Whenever I choose company.
I gotta say, two's company.
Except for this affair.
You give me mal de mer.
You know what that means?
Could we let in some fresh air?
No, madam.
Au contraire.
More coffee, madam?
Why are you following me, Robert?
More coffee, madam.
You've asked me that twice.
More coffee, madam.
That's 3 times. The answer is still no.
Speck of dust, madam.
Robert, why don't you just come right out and say it? You want to see what's in this letter, don't you?
I did happen to notice the name of the television company on the envelope, madam.
Uh-huh.
And I naturally assumed it was a reply to the synopsis you submitted. And I do have a financial interest.
How do you figure that?
I gave you the basic idea.
Well, not exactly, Robert. You very casually suggested one night that I should try my hand at writing for television because the play we happened to be watching at the time was, and I quote you, Robert, rubbish.
And I suggested you should write a 6-part thriller for the box, madam.
Well, if I ever get around to doing it, I'll see that you get a percentage.
2.5.
1 1/4.
Thank you, madam. May I?
If you'll stop following me.
I will.
You may.
Thank you. Oh. He wants to discuss the synopsis with you, madam. Excellent. Now, I'd better make an appointment for early next week, madam. I wonder which day would be best.
Robert, I can't go into that with you now. I'm expecting visitors.
Visitors, madam?
Yes, they're coming around to show me some kind of car literature. I've got to decide what make of car to buy today.
But we've already decided, madam. You're going to buy a Rolls Royce.
I've had second thoughts about that, Robert.
Your accountant, madam, said that you could buy a £40,000 car.
I know, but a Rolls Royce is such a grand car. I think I'd feel self-conscious, even guilty.
I don't see why you should feel guilty, madam. I shan't feel guilty.
Well, you don't feel guilty about anything.
You've worked hard all your life, and now you're entitled to enjoy the fruits of your labor, as I am.
As you are what?
Entitled to enjoy the fruits of my
labor.
So it's to be the Rolls Royce, madam.
I don't know, Robert.
But you're certainly not buying a foreign car, madam.
Look, Robert, I'll buy any kind of a car that I want to because it's my fruit tree.
Yes?
I'm to show Mrs. McNabb some literature on our cars.
Foreign cars?
American, actually.
Shh, come in quickly. Close the door. Are you English?
Yes.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Pardon?
Where's your patriotism?
Pardon?
You should be working for a British firm, not an American firm.
I heard that. You're a fine one to talk. You work for me, remember? Hello there, Mr. Timpson, is it?
Good morning. I brought you the literature you wanted.
Terrific. Would you like to come into the living room?
Thank you.
Just a minute. But, madam, you're surely not contemplating buying an American car.
You want me to buy a British car?
With a British name to it, madam.
What, you mean like Ford or Chrysler, maybe?
I'm afraid that British cars are not always available, if you know what I mean.
Frankly, young man, I am tired of the British always criticizing the British. I know what you're implying, that the British have forgotten what work is.
Well, I'm not British, Robert, and I'm certainly not criticizing you. Won't you sit down, Mr. Timpson?
Thank you.
Now, why don't you prove to me that you haven't forgotten what work is and excuse us, please? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I like that.
Just to look at it as it cost us 2 gallons of petrol, madam.
Who exactly is the gentleman, Mrs. McNabb?
That's my butler.
He's rather eccentric, isn't he?
I'm afraid I'm the one that's eccentric. I've had him for 4 years. Oh, wow, I like that.
Have you brought the literature?
Yes, sir.
Come in. Which country makes your cars?
Germany.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Good Lord, no.
That's the spirit.
Only because they all speak English.
Quite right. After all, who won the war?
What war?
Sooner they bring back conscription, the better. This way.
Robert, I think I found something I really like.
But you haven't seen the German literature yet,
Oh,
madam.
I'm sorry, that's true. Mr. Dobson, you're a little early, aren't you? Well, never mind. Mr. Dobson, Mr. Timpson, Mr. Timpson, Mr. Dobson.
Morning, Mrs. McNabb. Now, what is it that you're specifically interested in?
Oh, well, let's see. Color.
One colour chart.
Oh, dear, that's fast. And, comfort. Comfort. I like a lot of leg room. I'm almost as tall as Robert.
The seats are designed specially to give maximum comfort.
Oh, that's...
Anything else?
Yes, a large vanity mirror.
Vanity mirror.
I like to see where I'm going. No, I mean, I like to see how I look where I'm going. It's going to be very difficult to decide, Robert. They're both very attractive.
What, the cars, madam?
Well, the cars, too.
Hello? Yes, I want to speak to Mr. Rawlings, please. I'm speaking on behalf of Mrs. Dorothy McNabb, the American authoress. Dorothy McNabb. M-C-N-A-B.
I'm sure Solzhenitsyn had the same problem. I'll get that, Robert.
Yes. Hello, Mr. Rawlings. Yes, now look, I understand that you want to discuss the synopsis with us.
Hi.
Hello.
You must be Mr. Hislop?
I believe you wanted some literature.
Well, that's my excuse. Won't you come in?
Thank you.
I don't know what the neighbors are thinking by now. Who cares? I'm enjoying every minute of this.
That makes 2 of us.
Yes, well, we're in the living room. Would you like to follow me?
I'd follow you anywhere.
Thank you, Mr. Hislop. Buying a car is going to be more fun than I thought.
Look, we're not talking about one of your hack writers who'd scribble out a play for you in the corner of your office, provided you threw him the odd peanut.
Robert, give me that phone.
We are talking about Dorothy McNabb, whose novels have been translated into 824 languages.
Robert, there aren't 824 languages.
He's ITV, madam. He won't know that. Yes. Well, that's better. Thank
Yeah,
you.
would you give me the phone, please? Hello. Oh, hold on just a minute. I'm sorry, Mr. Hislop. Won't you sit down? Oh, and sorry, Mr. Hislop, Mr. Timpson, Mr. Timpson, Mr. Hislop, Mr. Hislop, Mr. Dobson, Mr. Dobson, Mr. Hislop. Mr. Rawlings, this is Dorothy...
Dorothy McNabb.
Thank you. Robert tells me, I didn't know he was going... What are you saying? You want to see us both at 12:30? But I can't, I have hello? Hello? Robert.
He invited me, madam, because of my commercial interest in the synopsis.
But why 12:30?
It was the last slot he had, madam, the only free slot he had in the next 6 weeks.
But I have to decide what kind of a car I am going to buy, Robert. It's 11:30 now.
I know, madam, we'll have to hurry. We haven't got much time.
I have people here.
Yes, well, madam, it's the London traffic. It'll be nose to tail all the way.
Robert!
Mrs. McNabb, thanks you for bringing the literature.
I'm terribly sorry, but this is a big shot in television.
And she apologizes profusely. Out.
Certainly do, and if I get the job, then I'll have to spend what's my money to buy one of your cars. I'm sorry. Robert, what are we doing here?
We were passing the showroom, madam.
What about the television interview? What about Mr. Rawlings?
Oh, we've got plenty of time for that, madam.
Surprise, surprise.
Yes, madam. There was very little traffic, was there? Where did you get that coat, madam?
It's yours. I told you I didn't want to be rushed. Oh, Robert, look at this car. Tell the truth. It's beautiful, isn't it
It
beautiful?
really is, madam. It's superb.
Ooh.
Don't touch, madam.
What do you mean, don't touch?
You may have dirty shoes, madam.
Okay, I'll take them off.
Oh, this is just the car for you, madam.
I'm beginning to think you're right. Where's the manager of this joint? Why isn't he out here trying to sell it to me? Front!
Madam, keep your voice down. This is not Marks and Spencer's.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
We have an interview to go to, and I'd like to just get...
An American. I do apologize. We get so many Tom, Dick, and Harrys off the street. My name's Johnson. What can I do for you?
Well, I just wanted to get in and sit down in the car for a few minutes, get the feel of it, but it's locked.
You wish to inspect the interior?
Oh, Mrs. McNabb is quite prepared to remove her shoes.
Oh, quite unnecessary. I keep it locked as a precaution against any Tom, Dick, or Harry.
What's the matter with Tom, Dick, or Harry?
But they represent those who come only to look and not to buy.
You mean they can't afford it?
Precisely, madam.
May I?
Oh, of course.
Thank you so much, yes.
One minute, if you'll allow me.
Oh, this really is something. If you want heaven on earth, madam, come and join me.
Madam looks as if she can afford heaven on earth.
Well, I don't know about that, but I could cough up, say, 40,000 pounds.
Is that all?
Is that all?
The list price is £50,500. 40,000.
Mr. Johnson, here's a good one for you. I don't know about Tom, but shake hands with Dick and Harry. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Mr. Rawlings.
You're late.
There you are. What is it, a power failure?
No, it is not a power failure. I always sit in the dark when I wish to concentrate. Why are you so late?
We were detained.
Sit down.
Sit down, Robert.
Cheers.
Over here, in front of the desk.
Wait a minute.
You're right there, madam.
Okay, I got it. It's very nice of you to see us, Mr. Rawlings. Can you see us?
Yes, I can.
Good.
Has he nodded off?
Mr. Rawlings.
I'm concentrating.
Sorry.
Yes. Yes. No. Your synopsis wouldn't run to a 6-part serial. The plot's far too thin.
But Mrs. McNabb is an expert at stretching the thinnest of plots. Haven't you read her novels?
I'm only interested in television, and for television, the plot's far too thin.
You could tell that from just a 2-page synopsis?
I can tell from a single sentence when a plot is too thin. And your plot is too thin.
Well, now, here's a basic plot in one sentence. The enemy invades, the enemy retreats.
So very thin.
The book is very thick.
What book?
War and Peace.
Now look. Just don't push me, all right?
We're not touching you.
You think I'm a fool?
Yeah, I do, because you're refusing to commission.
No, I'm not. I am.
You'd rather commission rubbish.
Robert.
That's right, madam. I've seen his programs.
Robert.
Your idea of a good plot is the telephone directory.
Robert, he said he is going to commission.
Yes, well, wait, what? Ah.
But, for a 1-hour play, not for a 6-part serial.
A 1-hour play.
Based on your synopsis.
But, Mr. Rawlings, I'm sure I can get 6 episodes out of it.
Oh, more, madam. 12, 24,
1.
You're wrong, Mr. Rawlings.
What do you know about it?
I wrote it.
Exactly. You're the last person to know about it.
Boy, you're a real ego booster, aren't you, Mr. Rawlings?
I am a television producer, not a psychiatrist. Now, please. I've made my decision.
And your decision is final.
Yes.
There's no appeal.
No.
Perhaps Mr. Rawlings is right. I mean, maybe your plot is a little too thin.
Will you make up your mind, please? Whose side are you on? Never know where I am with you.
Yeah, but you're always changing your mind.
It's
Look at those.
my money, Robert.
Look at those salesmen this morning.
I like
If
you.
I made serious, don't keep changing your mind, but if you
I'm
really
not.
give me a chance to finish.
Wait,
Believe me, I do have better things to do than listen to you having an argument with your agent.
He's not my agent. He's my butler.
Are you saying that I've been wasting my time listening to a discussion on scripts with a butler?
I am no ordinary butler.
I don't care if you're the Admirable Crichton, you're still a butler. My God, the effrontery of some people. This interview is over.
But,
Writers must love you, Mr. Rawlings.
Writers, they know where they stand where I'm concerned.
gagged and bound and suspended from the ceiling. I think you're here under false pretenses.
I happen to be held in very high esteem by this company.
I'm sure you are. Think what you saved them on electricity.
You mustn't be too depressed about it, madam.
Too late, Robert. I already am.
I do apologize if I've lost you the commission.
Oh, don't be silly. I wouldn't work with that pretentious man. You did me a favor. You saved me from a fate worse than death.
What, television, madam?
Television. Let's have a drink.
Yes. Personally, I've always preferred the wireless myself.
Oh, what about cricket?
Oh, I'm sure that cricket on the BBC, madam, is produced by gentlemen.
Well, Mr. Rawlings, no gentleman. Hello?
Rawlings here.
It's Mr. Rawlings.
I've just had one hell of an inspiration. There's no doubt about it. I'm a genius.
Mr. Rawlings is a genius.
Now, who says so?
Mr. Rawlings.
What you must do is to write a series about life with your English butler.
Oh, you'd never get by the censors. He wants me to write a series about my life with you. Mr. Rawlings, are you sure you're well? I mean, really, I've never heard anything so ridiculous. Wait a minute. My life with Robert. That's not a bad idea.
Yes, but who would play me, madam? It would have to be one of the nights.
Now, I've already discussed this with the head of drama, and he seems very excited about it. He seems to think that you're a marvelous writer. Anyway, what we're going to do is commission you to write a pilot.
He wants me to be a pilot?
A pilot is an introductory episode.
Thank you.
Now, if you get it right and the series follows, you'll earn yourself a fortune because it's bound to be sold to America in any case.
I'll have lunch with you sometime next week. I'll get my secretary to call you. Goodbye.
Wow!
Did you hear that word, fortune, madam?
Only if I get it right, says Mr. Rawlings, and I will, Robert, I will.
You better, madam. American sales.
Isn't it incredible? It's just incredible, and it's a hell of an idea. Oh, Robert, how could I have ever misjudged that darling Mr. Rawlings? I love you. You're a genius.
That is show business, madam. Television is such a creative medium, madam. American sales.
What do you say we celebrate, Robert? We'll go out in the town tonight.
Yes, what about going to the opera, madam?
Why not? We'll get dressed to the nines and go to the opera.
At one of the most expensive restaurants, we'll have supper afterwards.
That's right.
Yes. Oh,
What's wrong?
we can hardly go to the opera in a taxi, madam.
Who said anything about a taxi, Robert?
To the Duchess, madam.
To the Duchess.
Isn't she superb?
I just can't believe it. Oh, Mr. Johnson.
Mrs. McNabb, if I may use the American vernacular, you look $1 million.
Thank you very much. And what about Robert? Doesn't he look handsome? White tie and tails and all his medals. He was up half the night polishing them. Robert, isn't that the medal I got for field hockey?
Similar, madam, similar.
I'll just go and get the chauffeur, I shall.
Oh, thank you. Can I take a closer look?
No, really, madam, you do look more than $1 million. You look as if you could buy a Park Lane.
No, thank you, Robert. You haven't got 20 pounds till Thursday, have you?
I beg your pardon.
I want to do something nice for Mr. Johnson. I mean, he arranged all this.
Yes, but just a minute. Who's going to pay for the supper?
American Express.
That'll do nicely. I shall need a receipt, madam.
A receipt? Oh, Robert.
I'm sorry, madam. I must insist.
All right, have you got a pen and paper?
Yes, I've got a pen here,
Honest
madam,
to
yes.
God. Where's the paper?
Well, use one of these, madam. Write it on the back of it. 5, 10,
I
15,
owe
16,
you
17,
20
17
pounds. There.
17 pounds 68, madam. That's all I've got.
Here you go. It'll have to do. Here, take the 68 and you drop 2 pence.
Now, this is Williams, your chauffeur for the evening.
Oh. Good evening, Williams. Oh, Mr. Johnson, why don't you have a drink on us?
Really, Mrs. McNabb? You're too kind.
Oh, don't mention it.
Excuse me. My receipt. This really is magnificent, madam.
Isn't it, Robert? And it's
she's
mine.
ours.
Oh!